I'm not telling you any news that Turbo is yet at another high again. The rally seems to never stop. Let's have a look again at on-chain metrics. We have covered Turbo several times on this channel. Let's try to figure out how much longer this rally can last, and let's try to find a way to time Turbo properly. So we're currently at almost 0.9 cents. We are up more than 70% in the last week, and on-chain we've got almost 40,000 holders. That's on Ethereum. There's also a version on Solana, but most liquidity is on Ethereum. And so the analytics of Turbo are very interesting. I've covered it several times on this channel, and I will continue covering it as I discover new numbers. Because here's the thing, the price is going up, but we don't necessarily see how the number of holders with some substantial capital is going up. So on the left side, we see the number of wallets with $1,000 worth of Turbo, in the middle $10,000, on the right $100,000 worth of Turbo. And those charts seem to not really make sense when the price is going straight up like this. Initially, we had seen a lot of wallet growth, but that seems to have stalled. And we've already talked about this in those prior videos. The reason for the change in the on-chain analytics is the accumulation by the centralized exchanges. Now pretty much all of trading volume happens in black boxes. So most trading happens on Gate.io and OKX and HTX and Maxi, Qcoin, etc. It does not happen anymore on the Uniswaps of this world. We also have levered bets on the price in terms of perpetual futures. That's dominated by Binance, and there's almost $600 million worth of trading volume on the Turbo token. Again, in the last day alone. And compare this with the on-chain metrics now, right? We only had 1.4 million worth of trading volume on this pool, $600,000 in this pool. And though that maybe all adds up to a little bit more than 2 million, really the centralized exchanges are now responsible for price discovery. And so sometimes I get this comment under the videos, right? Why do you always talk about tokens that have already gone up? Why don't you talk about tokens that will go up? But the truth is, very often it's trends that will continue. It's very important to figure out how sustainable a trend is. For example, over here, the largest winners today, and I haven't made any videos today yet, are Turbo and Bitcoin. Bitcoin being the Harry Potter Obama Sonic Eno token. And when we look at the performance this week, again, Bitcoin is one of the top performers, Turbo as well, Baby Doge as well. And SPX and Nero were massive outperformers as well. And 7 days ago was that video on Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Eno. So very often what used to go up continues to garner more attention and can continue to go up if the whales aren't selling that aggressively. Here, the first video on SPX was 12 days ago. It's very rare that we see a completely sleeping cryptocurrency suddenly shooting up. What we usually observe is that a rally simply accelerates over time. And so this channel covers those cryptocurrencies that are in the phase of accelerating rallies. Not every rally is sustainable. Again, that's why we look at the on-chain metrics. Let's now look at the on-chain metrics of Turbo again, because it appears as if there's a lot of interest in this. This was the recent video on Turbo just published 4 days ago. It already outperformed your average video. And there's obviously interest. And wherever there's interest, there can be new investors coming into the token, which could lead to higher prices. Now, specifically, just for this video, I have built a new chart based on on-chain data. And this comes from a tool called Dune Analytics, and this is the query. So we're looking at the Ethereum chain, we look at daily data, and we count the number of sellers and the number of buyers. And we start from the beginning of time looking at the contract address. And this is what we see here at the bottom. We see in percentage terms if on a given day the number of buyers or sellers is dominating. And now again, I like to look at the extremes. And let's see what happened on those days where the buyers dominated. Because currently it seems like the sellers are dominating. Let's see what happens in the exact opposite case. So over here on the 26th of January and over here on the 9th of May. Here's the price chart, the 26th of January, the 9th of May. Both of those days had a lot of buyers dominating the trading volume. And that's then when subsequently, a few days later, the price rallied massively. First by 400%, afterwards by 800%. Isn't that fascinating? On the specific days, the price did not necessarily go up, but because a lot of new investors came in that potentially afterwards also dollar cost averaged in, we then saw subsequent price rallies. So this is not the dollar amount, right? This is just the number of transactions. And because we are working with decentralized data, we execute all our trades against a liquidity pool. This is not an order book mechanism where we always have to match buyers and sellers. We're simply just changing the weight in a liquidity pool. That's why we can have this distortion. And so what does this tell us now? Now we've got 57% sellers versus only 42% buyers. Now this seems to have flipped. It's not the buyers that are dominating today, it's the sellers. Now why do we see all those sellers? Maybe because we are close to the all-time high again. We have gone sideways to 4 to 5 months and now we are very close to that high again. And before, at the end of May, the price subsequently went down by more than 60%. But all of this data is to be taken with a grain of salt because again, now the majority of trading volume doesn't happen on chain anymore. So the reliability of those metrics is going down, unfortunately, right? This is how we started off this video. Most trading now happens in black boxes and we don't really know what happens over here. Now, in case you want to level up in crypto, in case you want to build those on-chain analytics tools yourselves, there are tutorials in premium. So there's one dedicated video, roughly half an hour long, building on-chain tools with Dune.com. There's a lot of other tutorials as well. There is one tutorial specifically just for technical analysis, another one for discovering wallets that we can then track and that we can then copy trade. But yeah, it's a lot of educational content that doesn't necessarily do that well on YouTube because it's not flashy, it's simply just targeted at getting better in crypto. And I believe this is how the markets work. The market is both a game of luck and skill, and the more we play the game, the less the luck component becomes important and more important becomes the skill component. The edge is really what matters. If we know things that the majority doesn't know, if we've got an edge, then over time capital should accumulate to the smart money. And so the link to premium is down below. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. And in case you haven't yet joined the free community, there's also a free Telegram link also down below. Looking forward to chatting with you over there as well. Cheers.